Welcome back, everybody, coast to coast. This week in America, the highly anticipated book, Perceptual Intelligence, The Brain's Secret to Seeing Past Illusion, Misperception, and Self-Deception, is available now wherever books are sold by human perception expert and highly sought-after eye surgeon, Dr. Boxer Wachler. Called a surgeon, as many other surgeons worldwide visit Dr. Brian for their own eyes, including eye surgeons, brain surgeons, orthopedic surgeons, and many more. A pioneer and the world's leading authority in keratoconus, refractive surgery, creator of the revolutionary eye whitening procedure, devoted to the field of vision correction. He's the medical director of the Boxer Wachler Institute in Beverly Hills, staff physician at Los Angeles' famed Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, an unparalleled history of awards and accomplishments, and now the author of Perceptual Intelligence, The Brain's Secret to Seeing Past Illusion, Misperception, and Self-Deception, revealing the secret behind our perceptions. Dr. Brian Boxer Wachler with us on This Week in America. Dr. Brian, welcome to the program. It's great to have you with us.
Thank you, Rick. Happy to be here.
I am so excited about this and so many things to talk about in the program. It's a book that everybody's talking about. As I said, it was highly anticipated. And it's interesting where this journey began for you. And in reading the book, this basically goes back to what elementary school, when you go to the library and you check out, "Are you there, God? It's me, Margaret." You were fascinated with the brain and how it worked at the time. Talk about that and how that really has shaped the rest of your career.
Honestly, at the time, I was really curious about, the other gender. So I figured I'll secretly check out "Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret." And it just was my fascination with, the brain and how people think and psychology. And in college, I was a psychology major as well as a biology major. And fast forward, even though I'm an eye doctor and an eye surgeon, I'm still always fascinated, and that never left me, to better understand why we think the things that we do and how we can improve upon that to make better decisions in our life and how to up our game. And that's what this book, Perceptual Intelligence, is about.
Yeah, and it really came back to you and put it in focus. It's 1999, and you've got a lifeguard who comes to you, who's coming to you for LASIK surgery. And talk about the condition that he had, and this really got you thinking, and that really began the process for the book.
He came to me, a very easygoing California lifeguard, like, "Hey, dude" type guy, very nice. And he's still my patient to this day, and we joke about that. And he came for LASIK, and he has a condition that I diagnosed called keratoconus, where the cornea, the outer lens or windshield of the eye, is weak and it bulges out, like a hernia, but it's on your eye. So imagine your car windshield is bulging. It causes those kind of distortions in vision. Well, he had it really in one eye, much more than the other, but his brain compensated and took over. So he didn't even know he had it in his bad eye, so to speak, because his good eye compensated. So the brain was compensating and doing this adjustment inside his psychology, if you will, of vision. And that fascinated me. And that's what then triggered me to start really thinking more about my original passion, which was how we think and why we think and what we can do better in our thinking and decision making.
The book is called Perceptual Intelligence, The Brain's Secret to Seeing Past Illusion, Misperception, and Self-Deception. The author, Dr. Brian Boxer Wachler, with us on This Week in America. The website is very simple. It's perceptualintelligence.com. You can link onto our website, thisweekinamerica.us, and go directly there. You're in Russia, so see Russia in 2014 for the Winter Games. And things really, again, gave you that inspiration. Talk about that, because you're watching a place that really shouldn't be hosting the games, a lot of perception that went into that. And you're watching Vladimir Putin, who, again, has his own perception rather than reality of who he is. Talk about that experience, because that was the inspiration. You came back and decided, okay, from what I observed, I'm really going to write this book.
And I was in Sochi in 2014 to be there to support my patient, Stephen Holcomb, U.S. Olympic gold medal bobsledder at the time, because he has keratoconus, and I treated him and restored his vision. So while I was there, I noticed what Putin was having the public believe and perceive about him, but then I saw on the ground what was really happening because of Putin, the type of person he really was. There were tremendous human rights abuses, with gays being supported, being repressed over there. There were lots of stray dogs that were slaughtered. And even where Sochi was, which is basically the climate of northern Florida, is now hosting a Winter Olympics. And it was kind of Putin saying to the world, like, I'm basically like a superhero type person that I can do whatever I want. And of course, after he invaded Ukraine. So it was just a very poignant example of, people's perception. And even just to make the definition of what perceptual intelligence is, the way I define it is it's how we interpret our experiences to separate fantasy from reality. Well, here was an example of somebody who was living in a fantasy land because of what he was doing, but yet he's having people believe that he's this, incredible Renaissance man who can sedate a tiger. He rides in planes to put out, forest fires with the forest fire department. He's riding horseback, bare-chested, man boobs, flying around. But he's really a bad guy. And that was this separation of reality and fantasy that sparked me to finally do this book, Perceptual Intelligence.
What's interesting, with the book Perceptual Intelligence, you tell us not to worry, that this is actually something that we can develop, that can be improved upon. Talk about that, and then we'll get into some concrete examples that you have in the book.
This is thinking. So if you think of playing an instrument, with practice, you can get better. When people are aware on how to unlock the secrets for better decision making, they can improve their perceptual intelligence, make better decisions in their lives, and elevate their game so they can have what they want in life, whether it's better job, better relationships, better sex. There's a chapter on sex, which people love that one especially.
You start with that chapter, probably.
Yeah, they jump right to chapter 10. But it helps people in that department, and it also helps people have more success in life and just have more happiness. Now, on the other hand, without this book, it's going to be hard to achieve those things because you'll keep repeating the same patterns. But by getting perceptual intelligence, you elevate potential success in every area in your life.
Let's go back and talk about that. The chapter that people start with in the book, Perceptual Intelligence. Talk about the relationship between perceptual intelligence and sex, because this really is fascinating and eye-opening.
It really is. And what we found is that a lot of people have hang-ups because of how they were raised with their parents or religion. And, there's something that, porn on the internet is the most traffic of any type of subject that's searched for on the internet. It makes up for 30% of internet traffic. And it's huge. The number of people that watch online porn once a week, men and women, is really staggering. But the point is like, this is human nature. I mean, we go back to Roman times. They had, sexual positions with images on the bathroom walls and people's houses, even going back to Ephesus in ancient Turkey. So this is really human nature, and it's okay to embrace that and have that curiosity and want that stimulation, satisfaction. So in other words, like, it's okay. Of course, you don't want to get carried away with watching, and you don't want to do that at work, and you don't want it to interfere with your
Exactly.
personal relationships. So that you got to draw a line. But, even when people think, or women think, is it okay, or they feel guilty, like if they're having sex, fantasizing about other people, celebrities or neighbors or coworkers, etc. And the point is, in this chapter, as people will find out, is like, that's okay. It's okay to do that. And there have been a number of articles even written about in women's magazines too that support that position, that it's okay to fantasize and help you, have that satisfaction, because it's a normal part of life for everybody, and it cuts through socioeconomic status, it cuts through education, it's through gender. I mean, this is something that is universal for everybody, and the chapter really helps unload some of the baggage that people have been carrying around with, or feeling guilty, and is it okay if I'm doing this, so that people can have more enjoyment and satisfaction and happiness in their lives, especially in this area.
It's interesting because you're told you really shouldn't be doing that. So the perception is this is bad, and you get a real different look at that in the book Perceptual Intelligence: The Brain's Secret to Seeing Past Illusion, Misperception, and Self-Deception. Dr. Brian Boxer Wachler with us on This Week in America. Website very simple. It's the name of the book, perceptualintelligence.com. Go to our website, thisweekinamerica.us, and link on directly. Books available all across the country. Let's talk about why some things happen. People see things differently. You've got a great chapter in there talking about basically a $28,000 cheeseburger. You've got a chapter talking about $100 for coffee that consists of cat poop, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But talk about that. Why is it that some people see something, their perception is, I see a picture of something in that I'll let you tell the story with the cheeseburger, but the grilled cheese, I think it was. But it's worth $28,000, and other people go, it's grilled cheese, I'm going to eat it.
So it's because of a condition called pareidolia, which, by the way, is not something treated with penicillin. It's how we see faces and objects, and we've all experienced it. We've all looked up in the clouds at some point and seen a face. So it's normal. We're trained from our upbringing to see that because of as babies, we've been seeing our parents' faces doting over us from the very beginning. So people with strong religious upbringing, though, they're primed to see the likes of the Virgin Mary in the skillet burns of a grilled cheese sandwich and pay $28,000 for it. So this is also, by the way, not just the domain of Virgin Mary. There have been a number of Jesus sightings, too.
Yes.
Remember Cheetos?
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
So Jesus has been seen on a Cheeto. Cheeses, if you will.
It's all in the book, Perceptual Intelligence. Something else that's fascinating in there is this mystique we have with celebrities, the Kardashians, for example, and you talk about that. Social media and why we seem to have this desire to follow them. In fact, you say even the word follow should give us an answer to that question.
And the reason celebrities have such a huge influence is because of what's called the halo effect. And it's massive. And so an example is celebrity actress Jamie Lee Curtis did commercials for Activia yogurt. The problem was the company's claim of improved digestion was false. So here, a company and a celebrity hijacked the perceptual intelligence of a lot of people who went out and bought that yogurt expecting a benefit. So the book can help make you bulletproof against false information from celebrities, more importantly, false information from anyone else, and that's especially important nowadays with what you read on the internet and in social media.
Yeah, there's so much information there and so difficult to determine what actually is valuable, accurate information. Time going way too quickly in the program. I want to talk about something that's very important. Montel Williams does the foreword for the book, Perceptual Intelligence. And he said, Dr. Brian has taught me a lot about illness perception, why maintaining a positive outlook is critical to effective treatment and eventual outcome. So many people go through, not necessarily MS as Montel is going through, but illnesses of some type. Talk about the role of perceptual intelligence in getting you through that, because it can be an ally in that battle.
It's really important. It can make a difference for people, especially with a chronic condition. So having, number one, a very positive mental outlook is really important. And studies have shown that. And also surrounding yourself with a support group. So again, you have the perception of the disease, but you can have the reality that you're going to overcome it, you're going to get through it, you're not going to have it affect your life and rob you from what you want to do in life. And that's having a high perceptual intelligence and, supporting yourself with family and friends. And those are real people, not Facebook friends, by the way.
Yes.
And having a good network of doctors and physicians that are taking an interest in you and that you're not just like a number in their waiting room going through the process.
Well, that's interesting because you see people every day that come in, their perception is this is bad, and you need to walk them through this and give them the reality, which is in many cases, they're going to walk out of there a whole lot better than when they came in.
That's true. And when we treat people with keratoconus, this is one of the most devastating types of eye conditions for somebody who's young and healthy, and suddenly their vision is just deteriorating and having tremendous glare and halos at night, difficulty driving, and a lot of times, people may really alter their life, including having to give up working because they can't see. So when we can instill people with hope and help treat them, they can overcome these things and get their life back on track. But those principles hold for all other types of eye medical conditions too, not just in eyes, medical as well.
Why is it so often our perceptions are distorted? What causes that, and how can we prevent that? And we've got about 3 minutes to answer all those questions there.
One is we have emotional desires deep inside to achieve what we want to achieve. That also makes us susceptible to marketing. That's why you mentioned earlier about the cat poop coffee, which is, in a nutshell, special type of beans are eaten by a cat, which goes through it undigested and come out the back end. And by the way, somebody has to pick out those beans. But the story is that these cats have a near magical ability to pick the best beans, which makes this unbelievable coffee, and people pay $100 a cup for it. In reality, the coffee's good, but it's not going to knock your socks off. But it's how marketing hijacks a lot of people's perceptual intelligence to waste their hard-earned dollars. So, that's one thing. The other thing is, people were duped by this comedy website that put out a joke press release that said that Johnson & Johnson, the makers of Visine, have now come out with eye whitening strips. And so all these people were calling the company saying, where can I get them? And they said that they don't make them. Well, people started calling my office because I do an eye whitening procedure,
Yes.
saying, where can I get the strips? And the staff said they don't exist. And they said, well, can I just take the Crest teeth whitening strips and put those in my eye? And they said, no. So, because of people's internal desires, that can alter their perceptual intelligence. And the book really gives people those tools to make better, smarter decisions in their life.
We're all susceptible without the tools. The tools you will find in the book Perceptual Intelligence, The Brain's Secret to Seeing Past Illusion, Misperception, and Self-Deception. The author, Dr. Brian Boxer Wachler, with us on This Week in America. Website is very simple, perceptualintelligence.com. Of course, you can link on directly by going to our website, thisweekinamerica.us. The book is available all across the country. And I have to mention Dr. Wachler is with us on the program today because of our good friend, Dr. Susan Smith-Jones, the holistic health expert, who's a patient of yours, I understand. She said it was okay to say that. And
She's wonderful.
Yes, and a great guest, and she suggested having you on the program. We got a chance to read the book, and hopefully this will be the first of many times to have you on the program. Dr. Brian, this was great. I love the book, Perceptual Intelligence. Thank you so much for being with us on the program.
You're welcome. And just one last reminder, the chapter on sex is amazing. And as you said, the book's available everywhere, Amazon and anywhere else books are sold.
The book is excellent, and you can, that's okay, start with the chapter on sex, that's fine. The book is Perceptual Intelligence, and if you're borrowing my book, it's already dog-eared for you, so you won't have to spend a lot of time looking for it. The book, Perceptual Intelligence, Dr. Brian Boxer Wachler with us on This Week in America. Dr. Brian, thank you very much. You're listening to This Week in America. We're back after these messages. Don't go away.